Welcome, Ebony.
Hello, Tia.
I am very excited to have you on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to have this conversation with you.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in. I had the pleasure of getting to learn a little bit about what you are really passionate about, what lights you up, and what has helped you during challenging times, which I know we all go through, we all need. So, first question is, what is your advice to people who are struggling to find purpose and meaning in their careers? These could be executives, leaders, managers, even supervisors starting out. So again, advice for people that are struggling, not feeling a lot of purpose while they're working. What advice do you have?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And when I think about finding that purpose and meaning in one's career, let's be honest, it can be a challenge at times. As you mentioned earlier, right? There's a lot of challenges, the external environment, internal environment, et cetera. And it can affect us individually in different ways and at different levels of a company.
Yeah.
And so, you know, thoughts that initially come to my mind is I would encourage people to reflect on what are their values and their passions, right? Take time to, think about the personal values and passions you have. What are those activities and things you do that bring you joy, fulfillment, that sense of accomplishment? And then when you thought about that, how do you align it with your personal values so that you create this sense of purpose? I
Mm-hmm.
think another thing that I also think about is setting those personal and professional goals, right? When we think about establishing those clear, achievable goals personally and even professionally, we need to make sure we're thinking about how can we work towards those and provide ourselves a sense of direction, a sense of accomplishment, so
Right.
that we foster that feeling of purpose. And I'll give you one more. One more that I also think is important is, we've got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So, to find that purpose and meaning in our careers, maybe it's also exploring new opportunities. I think about my career and how I've done many different opportunities within my organization. And it's really helped me and challenged me and really sparked the passion and energy and sense of purpose I have in the work that I do.
Yeah.
And it also has been something that has allowed me to stretch and grow and learn, because we should always be continuous learners, no matter how younger we may be getting.
Yes, I like that. No, learning definitely makes us happier. I want to go back to something you said when you were talking about increasing how much purpose and meaning you feel, and one of your strategies, I would say your pieces of advice were to get really connected and to set personal and professional goals. How often, and this is such a good time of year as this is the end of a year, how often do you set new goals for yourself, or maybe edit some of the goals you have, or say, you know what, that's not even a goal anymore. I don't even need to go in that direction. But can you talk about sort of your rhythm when it comes to personal and professional goals?
So it's a yearly thing for me. And I
Okay.
don't call this like a New Year's resolution. I don't do things like that. This is really just about me making sure that when I wake up every day, I have a sense of purpose. I have something that I'm striving or driving towards. So for me, it's an annual, reassess, right?
Mhm.
Check in with myself and look at, well, did I accomplish that goal or am I still off the mark? Did
Mhm.
I take time to truly invest in myself and what I wanted to do and accomplish?
Mhm.
And if I know I haven't, then it needs to stay there. And I need to be more intentional with raising that to the top of the list. And
Right.
then the other things I feel good about when I check it off the list, you might say, to say, I did it. Now what's next? Right? I never take my foot off the gas. I always ask myself,
Right.
what's next? How do I get better?
So can you share one or two parts of your career, of your work that are really meaningful to you? Can you give a couple examples? That might be helpful for people listening too.
Well, So for those that may not know me, I am passionate about three areas actually: diversity, equity, and inclusion, employee policies, and employee well-being and mental health. Because the three go hand in hand. And when we can promote and raise awareness and support our employees around those three areas,
Yeah.
it can truly make a difference. And
Mm.
so for me, my passion around ensuring that we're doing the right thing, we're providing our employees with the right resources and tools they need to ensure that we're all living through our core values, the company's core values. And when we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, are we creating a culture that is diverse,
Mhm.
equitable, and allows everyone to bring their whole selves, right? Feel included.
Right.
And mental health and well-being, well, we know that that is at the forefront right now. And we
Yes.
really truly have to think about taking care of one another, taking care of ourselves, being accountable for taking care of ourselves,
Yeah.
while also ensuring that our companies are looking out for our employees as well through the benefits and tools and resources they offer. So my goal is to make sure that I'm doing all the right things to support not just the employees, but their families and
Mm.
their communities.
Mm.
Yeah.
The ripple effect. Yes. So, in a nutshell, what gives you purpose and meaning is helping people, is making people's lives better, helping people thrive, not only in the organization but out, but that you're very connected to. This is what I'm doing. I am serving, I am helping, I am elevating people. And so I know that when people are working and they feel disconnected from either helping people or helping animals or helping the earth, right? Like in any area. And a lot of times it's people helping society. When they feel disconnected from that, I think that's when, and tell me if you agree, when there's this sense of, what am I really doing? Is this purposeful? Is this meaningful? Because a lot of times with your work, you can get removed if you're not really close to it and focused on it. Do you agree that that's kind of how?
I do. I do. At first, let me say, you took the words right out of my mouth. You learned me so well, right? It is about serving and helping others. You
Yeah.
think of the Maya Angelou quote, where
Yeah.
people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did,
Yeah.
but they won't forget how you made them feel. And
Right.
I just want people to feel good, even on their worst days. How can we serve one another to ensure we're helping people feel good from the inside out? And then, as you said, it's about that connection, people feeling like what they're doing matters and
Mhm.
it's connected to something that's meaningful.
Yes.
And
And
again,
bigger
makes
than
them
them.
feel good. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah. And when I work with leaders and I'm doing leadership development programs, and it's actually a question I ask. I say, how is your organization making society better? I might be with a hotel company, or I might be with a law firm or a tech company. And I say, and it's not about your P&L, it's not about your like, how are you actually, making the world better? And a lot of times they will answer and they will say, oh, we help this charity, and I say, that's amazing, and keep doing that. That's not the question. Is how is your organization making society better? And then I pull out this incredible information that, gives you get goosebumps. And because I think also leaders at times, because they're just so in the day-to-day, the whirlwind of work, that they too no, they don't become fully disconnected, but they're not as connected as they need to be to just what you were saying, that meaning and purpose, and that serving.
Well, and it's interesting, right? When we think about what we're doing, we first have to think about our people because our people are our main asset. So you start with your people.
Yes.
And what we're doing to support our people is it starts a lot with our policies, diversity, equity, and inclusion, our mental health and well-being, our community engagement, as you said, giving back to the community. It starts with just making sure that we're hearing what our employees need so that
Right.
we can meet that. Because when we start there, again, that gives them purpose and feeling good. so that they then can go and do what they need to do to pay it forward, give it back, you might say.
Right.
So in our organization, we're prioritizing well-being, we're prioritizing mental health by providing all the things that our employees need, such as training and the benefits, our employee assistance program. We're looking at the whole person, not just who you see coming into the office every day. We're making sure life and work, that we're seeing both sides of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a perfect segue, because I was going to say there's alignment. So you are, in addition to caring a lot about purpose and meaning and everything you just talked about, you're also very passionate about living authentically happy. Now, you and I could probably talk for a few weeks and go, because my company is called Arrive at Happy. And so I care so much about it as well. What does living authentically happy mean to you specifically? That's my first question. Then I'll ask my second question. What does it mean to you specifically?
It means living authentically happy by aligning my life with my true self, my values, my aspirations, and finding fulfillment and joy in everything I do. And when I say everything I do, that even includes caring for my mother as a full-time caregiver, being a wife, being a fur baby mama, and being friends to all my close girlfriends. That's what that means to me.
I love it. So beautiful. And you said it so succinctly. I'm going to say it again for everyone, because a lot of people are driving or exercising or moving. Aligning your life with your true self, with your values and aspirations, and I'm going to put in a word, intentionally finding fulfillment and joy with everything you do, even challenging aspects of your life, or aspects of your life that maybe, can bring you painful emotions, but really looking into how is this fulfilling, and how does it bring me joy? I love it. So talk about, I teach the science of happiness and happiness at work. And the research shows that we don't, of course, have impact over the genetics that we inherited, our genetic code, our genetic history. There's also a lot in our environment, and there's events, for example, the war happening in the Middle East. There's a lot of events in our environment that's out of our control. Where we do have agency is over our thoughts and over our behaviors. So what specific choices do you make around your thoughts and around your behaviors? I would love to know what you do, and how you take care of your psychological well-being. That's sort of that thought piece. And I think some people listening can maybe adopt some of these. So maybe start with your thoughts, and
Yeah.
then talk about sort of your behaviors, your actions.
Well, let me first share that I may joke around, but I really do believe this. I live in a bubble. I live in my little bubble, and my husband will even attest to this. I have a bubble that if someone tries to pop it, you're going to bounce right back off of it. Because this bubble is
Tell us about this bubble.
this bubble. It's the part of my thoughts, right? My thoughts. Because you're right. How we wake up, how we see or think, what we put out to the universe, that affects how we're thinking in our thoughts. So for me, I'm intentional about waking up and saying, it's a new day. What are we going to do today? I am ready. I find myself dancing for joy. I find myself getting my workout on, walking my fur baby, spreading love to my family. I make sure that my thoughts are what I know I want my day to be, which is good. And look, I know life isn't perfect. I know days aren't perfect. Believe it or not, I have those days, but it's how I choose to react to those days. And sometimes I let those days get to me.
Of course, you're a
But I
human.
reflect.
Yeah.
Right. I reflect. I regularly reflect, trying to understand myself, understand what's triggering me to let someone pop a little bit of that bubble, because it can happen, right? But it again, with my thoughts, I am intentional about saying, get out, get out. Nope, no negative thoughts. And if those negative thoughts come in, I have to think about, why did I let that happen? What led me down that path? And
Mhm.
how do I avoid that again in the future? Because I don't want to reflect that onto someone else. And I set those personal boundaries. You asked, what do I do as well? I set personal boundaries. I maintain healthy boundaries in my personal and professional life. I stay true to myself, even when it involves sometimes having to say no, but in a way that is, not saying I won't do it. It's just there are other competing priorities at the moment, like tending to my mom, or, on the work side, there's other, projects or strategies I need to focus on.
Right.
But I will tell you, my number one is self-care. I am a self-care guru. I will call myself queen. I am all about the self-care. Self-care is not just bubble baths. It is taking time to just pause.
Mhm.
And yes, I like my facials. I like my working out. I like just walking or getting lost in the woods, or just spending time with my family and just decompressing from social media or anything that can be distracting. So I'm really good about doing those things. And I feel like a champion sometimes,
Mhm.
really most of the time, because I'm really good about that. And that's why I wake up with so much happiness and joy,
Yeah.
because I know I'm disciplined and I stick to that.
So many good. So you have affirmations, you have words that you say, phrases that you say that start your day in a way that you want it to, dancing and all the love to the family, regularly reflecting on triggers. And I wrote down also, you're observing and being curious and learning about the painful thoughts. I don't my Dr. Tal Ben Shahar from Harvard taught me, they're not negative thoughts, they're painful. They're not bad, they're painful. So I always like that reframe. But when you have them, it sounds like you don't let them sweep you away for long periods. You notice it and it's there, and but as I said, you're getting curious and kind of learning, and like, what was that trigger? Um and would you say that you have a high level of self-compassion as opposed to being really self-critical?
Mm, I'm self-critical of myself,
You
big
are
time.
critical. Yeah.
I'm hard on myself. I am.
All
Tia,
humans are. It's human being,
yeah.
how the brain works.
A quick story. I had received some feedback that I really took to heart and personally. And it wasn't feedback that was like necessarily bad. It was feedback to help, because feedback is a gift.
Right.
But when I think about like the feedback and maybe who it came from,
Yeah.
I really was critical of myself, going, wow, how did I do that? Oh no, how do I make it better? Oh gosh, like
The voice in
really
your head,
set
like,
on
why
it.
did that happen?
Yes,
How could you have?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. But then I got through my pity party. I said, you know what? This is part of growing, right? It's a
Yeah.
part of just getting right back up, take the feedback, learn from it, grow from it, and move on. And so I had to really talk myself into that at that very moment in time.
Well, thank you for your honesty. And I think most of the 8 billion people on earth are critical. That's, it's the way we're wired for many different reasons. This is something that I've been working on over the past probably 2 or 3 years, is really uh quieting the critical voice. And so a wonderful book that I read that is really helpful is called Self-Compassion by Dr. Kristen Neff out of the University of Texas. Anyway, beautiful book, wonderful stories, and um, it might help with those critical thoughts. I know it's helped me quite a bit of being
Okay, I'll take you up
kinder to
on that.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to share. So your company and Boston Scientific is truly at the forefront of a lot of initiatives and driving change and caring about the holistic well-being of people, and understanding that, yes, it is people's responsibility to take care of their well-being, and the organization also plays a part, right? It's both. So the organization's working to solve healthcare's toughest problems. So physical health, taking care of our physical body, and then emotional, psychological health, you said mental health, are 100% connected. I always say, whatever we do with our body affects our mind. Whatever we do with our mind affects our body, right? There's no separation. So how does your organization prioritize well-being and happiness? Thinking on that more on the mental health side, on the emotional health. Can you talk about, because I think
Yeah,
you're going to inspire people listening.
Exactly. So we just, this role for me in the well-being space just started, it's been a full year. And of course, we've
Congrats.
always been working on well-being in our organization. So this isn't like something new for us.
Right.
But what we've done now is we're really putting some emphasis on, looking at our benefits, providing more options and resources to help, especially in the mental health space, while also providing again, the EAP services, right? Access to mental health resources, counseling services, et cetera. But we're also looking at creating that training, right? Creating the awareness for our people leaders, creating mental health champions across the organization so people can find other individuals that may be able to just help guide them in the right direction. They're not psychiatrists, they're simply champions helping to navigate them to the right resources, while also looking at, building some training for all employees that is like an introduction to mental health. That way we can start to at least introduce mental health to those that may not fully understand or appreciate what it is or what it means, but it allows them to take this journey into learning and starting to seek out and look and see what that looks like across generations, across all individuals, multicultural. And I think the other big thing also is that, we're making sure that we are being intentional with engaging our employees in the work that we're doing. We think about our employee resource groups, and we have what we call a lead ERG, which is our disability ERG. They're truly taking the stance and the leadership in making sure that we're raising awareness around mental health, not just on Mental Health Day or Global Awareness Day or month, but really every day.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Wow. That is a lot. And the love the mental health champions, and it sounds like there's support for people that need support, but there's also a lot of initiatives and strategies that are proactive when you talk about the leadership training or the champions, or even just the training for all employees of just awareness and having people not have to go seek this out, necessarily in their private time, but it's like that the company is sharing a lot of great information. That is, I'm going to share that the champions is with, I know because some companies I'm working with that are not doing that. So I think that is just really, really great idea. So we have time for one more question. I would like to hear your thoughts on, what do you believe, you've already said so much. So I would say, in addition to everything you've said, what do you believe are some of the key aspects of being happy while you're working? We know that there's leaders listening, and everyone always asks me, I want my team to be happier. How do I make my team happier? That's why they come to me. But from your perspective, what are some key aspects of being happy while you're working?
Well, first, make sure you enjoy what you do. Love the work that you do, right? That matters.
And if you
If
don't, maybe make a change.
Exactly. If you wake up every day excited about the work you're about to do, and it challenges you and makes you feel good, you're working with a great team, that's an indicator, a great indicator.
Yeah.
What I would also say is, just practice gratitude, right?
Mhm.
Cultivate a habit of gratitude by acknowledging and appreciating the aspects of your life, but that you work with, your team members, because it can shift your focus towards what brings you joy. or what brings them joy.
Right.
I would also say it's the relationships as well, right? Cultivating, those positive relationships, surrounding yourself with people who support and lift you up, because that also contributes to happiness and a sense of fulfillment.
Yep.
And I think another thing, and I truly live by this, which is embracing that authenticity.
Mm.
Be genuine.
Be
Be
yourself.
genuine and true to yourself in your relationships, in your interactions with people, because that fosters those deeper connections, meaningful connections,
Mhm.
and a sense of personal integrity as well.
Right. Right. Yeah. Not having the mask. I agree with everything you said. I did a gratitude meditation this morning before I took my younger daughter to school. And so much of what you said is about people and being part of a great team, cultivating positive relationships, surrounding yourself with people that support you and lift you up. And if you are in a position where you're leading people, and we started off with this, I think before we hit record, but just know the impact that you have, the potential positive impact you have on not only your team members, but their families and out into the community. And if you're in a team or organization where people around you are not supporting you, they're making you feel really negative, if it's toxic and they're draining your energy, life is short, and you can go find an amazing type of environment like where Ebony is. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on the Arrive at Happy show. It was such a pleasure. You boosted me up with more energy and such great reminders, and it's a beautiful time of year. I think this is the perfect conversation for December. So thank you for coming on, and I hope that we can meet in person one day.
Oh, me too, Tia. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share just, what makes me happy and what brings me joy. And this definitely was an opportunity that brought me a lot of joy and happiness right now. So thank you.
Of course.